I got a strange question from a friend of mine the other day, asking about an old head unit he has. He had a head unit kind of like this. He calls me up, he's like, hey man, you know the head unit I got in my Toyota? I said, yeah, I remember the head unit. He said, how do I add Bluetooth to that? I said, well, I think there's a way that they sell like these dongles or whatever that you can add to it, but you work every day, so why are you not just buying a new radio? Apparently he has some sentimental value to the radio, so I gave him a few tips and he settled on one, and I'm going to share it with you guys today. All right, so this radio here is from 2014. It's an old unit. As you guys can see, it's a single DIN unit that has been placed in a double DIN insert. You can buy these double DIN inserts at Walmart, and they fit a whole lot of, double DIN type standard double DIN cars, and it's made by Scotch. All right, so how do I get Bluetooth added to this old radio that doesn't even have a USB port on it? Well, it's very, very simple. This is a headphone amplifier, and this headphone amplifier actually has Bluetooth capabilities. If you look at the back of it, one of the inputs here is Bluetooth, and that's the antenna that would actually connect to this Bluetooth headphone amplifier. Now, why would you need an amplifier for your headset, someone would ask? Well, I have quite a few premium set of headsets, and those things have ridiculous impedance values. To be more specific, the headsets that I got, let me pull them out. These are the Sennheiser HD 800s, and these guys here cost about $1,000. Okay, they are very, very good headsets. Some would say that they are a great pair of headsets, and this is the mass drop variant of these headsets. These headsets have an impedance value of 300 ohms. 300, meaning that your tablet, if you were to connect these to your tablet would not push these headsets as effectively as they can be pushed. You would not get optimum sound from your phone or from your MP3 player. You have to have an external amplifier in order to boost the signal that this 300 ohm headset actually produce. So in order to do so, you got to get yourself a small amplifier for your headset. And this one here is 300 ohm capable. So the way that you would connect this is, first let me go over the inputs and outputs of this small unit. You have three ways to input sound into this device. You have one, which would be the Bluetooth. Second would be an optical cable right here for this little input. That's your infrared stuff. And then you have three, which would be the coaxial. You can select what input you're using by pushing this button on the front of the unit. As far as outputs, you have two different outputs. You have the right and left RCA cables in the rear, and you also have a headphone, a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack in the front. And this thing does have high and low gains on the front as well with volume control, and these are not an infinity knob. This thing can actually turn the unit off. Like that. The only thing else you would need is the Bluetooth antenna that comes with it. And this thing actually is powered by USB 5-volt DC. Some of you may be wondering, well, how could you get that Bluetooth device connected to this unit here? Well, if you look at this unit, it actually has an input right there on the front. That's a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. That's the aux input, or the auxiliary input for this head unit, and we're going to use that. So some of you may be asking, how are we going to get this device to output to this guy right here? Well, if you remember, or maybe I didn't cover this, you see this on the front, that little hole? That's the auxiliary input for this unit. That's a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack that we're going to use Because remember, the two outputs for this device right here are the RCA outs or the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. And we have this, which is a two-headed headphone cable. And we're going to capture the output from here, and we're going to use it to input to the auxiliary. Let's do that. Okay, so one thing I noticed about this little adapter insert for this single DIN to double DIN is that it had this little pocket down here. See this plastic pocket? I guess you can just use this for like keys and spare change and stuff like that. Just another little cubby hole for storage, right? To fill that space in. Well, I said, what if I drill some holes in the bottom of it, like I just did? I can actually run RCAs through there. I can actually run the 5-volt cable, charging cable through there. I can actually have the Bluetooth antenna poke through there. And that's what I did. I just drilled a series of holes. Those holes are 1/2 inch. And that's what I'm going to be using them for. In case I want to use the RCAs and coaxial. And for the power cord that runs out the back of this thing. Luckily for me, in this case, this isn't too fat to fit in here. And look what I'm doing. I'm making certain that this antenna goes in through that hole and don't get damaged in any way. So it's gonna sit in there like that, and all I gotta do now is just push it flush with the rest of the unit. Well, partially flush. But you sitting in the driver's seat, you'll never really notice that. It just looks like it's part of the unit. And then what we're going to do, and from here, what we can do is just take this output and connect it. I'm gonna run it like this. This looks a little bit cooler. Run it just like that. See how short that is? It's actually a cleaner look than if it was too long. And this here can turn on and off. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, so this is the setup, right? Everything's installed exactly the way that we discussed. Right now I have this guy turned off. Later on I'm going to be having it connect to my tablet and I'm going to pump some sounds through it. This is the setup. What you guys are looking at right now is my office setup that I use for testing different speakers and amplifiers. So basically this old head unit is my source. I run them up through all the outputs are ran through these distribution terminals right here. Like this is the high level output that comes out of the head unit into the DSP, out of the DSP, into the 4-channel amplifier right there, and then out to these desktop speakers right here. This is what we're working with. The subwoofer amplifier, we're not going to be using that. That's the Smart 3 Bass by Triumphs, and we're not going to be using that one today. With no further ado, let's get this turned on. This is my switch right here, and when I flick this, everything should turn on. All right, so now that this guy's turned on, we're gonna just go up here to source, and we're gonna go until we see auxiliary. That's the tuner. Oh, I forgot I had everything. Everything is switched on through the DSP up here, and I have it in speaker mode. So it only switches on when it sees power through the speakers. You can do RCA, remote, or speaker. And in this case, I got it. Now that the FM is playing, it just switched everything on. So once it switches on, it remotely turns on both these units here. So that's why you heard the fans kick on the Smart 3. Anyway, just wanted to explain the noise you guys heard. The first source on this radio is the FM tuner. We're going to hit source again, and that's going to give us our auxiliary. Of course, nothing is on because we haven't turned this on yet. So now we're going to turn it on. You see that? And it's searching for Bluetooth. All right, so we're gonna try to pair to GV audio. That's the one we want. And there it is, GV audio. You see that? That's the one you want. All right, so I went over here, I found one of my videos. I'm gonna be playing the intro to my passive radiator video that I did for NVX VCW12s. And it should play through these speakers right here because it's feeding into the Bluetooth. And the Bluetooth is feeding this entire system now. All right, let's do this. It goes to 60, I'm gonna leave it on 50. All right, I think that kind of proves itself. We don't have to do much more than that. I think you guys get the point. It works, right? So, and keep in mind that this is unfiltered, unprocessed. Yeah, it is running through the DSP, but all this stuff is brand new. Nothing up here is set up. So all you're getting is a pass-through. What's coming out of here is basically what's running into the amplifier and into the speakers. I don't even think the gains have been touched on this amplifier. Right now it's coming out of channels 1 and 2. And the gain settings, I haven't done anything. The gains are like all the way down. There's nothing being boosted. No treble, no bass, no mids, no highs, no nothing. So you're getting it as it's coming out of this thing, which is really good quality. As long as you get one that has, you know, great reviews or from a reputable company that you trust. So that's pretty much it. They do come in different form factors. All of them are not this thick. I actually have a few of these. Let me pull another one out. And this one is another one that I use for when I'm on the go. As you guys can see, it looks pretty nice. It has a brushed metal finish. It tells you right there it has an impedance value of 16 ohm to 300 ohms. So you can definitely play some audio through some high-end headsets through this. And as you guys can see there, it has an input and it has an output on the front. And it has the same type of volume control there. And there it is. You charge through a USB port. This is a micro USB port. And it's also 5 volts. And it also have the gain on there for low and high gain, depending on what your listening preference is. This one is battery operated. I got it for that specific reason. So when I'm on the go, I have something that can power my headsets for me. And yes, this is also one that I can tell you right now. There you go. Turn it on, and there you go. It's not connected to anything, and it powers on because it has an internal battery, and it lasts a pretty decent amount of time. And as you guys can see, the form factors are completely different. This thing is very thin, and this one is not. The reason why this one's so thick because of all the I/O that it has, right? The input outputs that it has. This guy here has one input, one output, and that's all you're gonna get is those two 3.5 millimeter headphone jacks. Whereas this one here has coaxial, it has optical, has RCA. It has more going on with it. In short, I believe you can just, you see that? That's how small that guide area is. So it doesn't have to be something that's bulky. It can be something that's easy to hide. Even this guy right here being small as it is, it's easy to hide. So yeah, just if you guys are looking for something like this, I do have links in the description below in case you want to pick you something up like that. Maybe you have an old head unit, or maybe you have a project car that you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on. A new head unit with, they have like Bluetooth and all that stuff. Get you something like that, and you'll be fine. Anyway, hope this tip brought value to you guys. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, leave a thumbs up. And also leave a comment in the sections below and share this video with anyone who you think may get value out of it as well. That helps out the YouTube algorithm and help my channel grow. So thank you in advance. See you in the next one.